Hello everybody, in this video I will show you how we start with a cube and out of a cube create a nice set of furniture. Then also take a look at cylinders and then later go into kind of like interesting experimental approaches. So later we can then populate a space and then as you see also build walls and other elements around it. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, so let's have some fun with the polygons. Here everything is turned off. Very good. Before we continue, I will switch to 3D cursor and face snapping, and then I click, drag, and hold then control and release. You see that puts the 3D cursor onto the ground. And because I did this, if I now create a new plane, it sits right on it. So I can now go into edit mode, face select, and press E and drag this up. Object mode, there's my cube. And because the object center is right at the ground plane, or at the bottom, I can just from the bottom extrude this up. Let's make this 16 and 16 and 16. Okay, so that's kind of like a nice cubicle stool to sit on. Very good. We will apply the scale. So it's 1:1. Very good. So now this cube isn't really that interesting. What can we do with it? Let's make a copy. Shift D and Y, move this over. We can go into edit mode and edge select and then maybe say, maybe this we move over. Maybe that's a good idea. Undo. Select each side. You see this is the y-axis, so I can scale this along the y-axis, or I press S and Y. You see how I'm creating a nice, interesting, angled side. No, not too bad either. Also interesting. Okay, let's see what else can we do with this. Shift D and Y. I'm really going into mass production mode. So I would like maybe to shell this out. Okay, let's go into edit mode. Then edge select. We select this edge, X and delete. Select this edge. Maybe we keep this edge. Okay, good. So now this is open. Pretty paper-like. So we need to give this a thickness. Okay, solidify. There we are. 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch, not 5 inches. Class. Thank you. There. Very good. And here, simple complex. Very good. You notice that I switched the unit system to imperial and inches, and I have separate units turned on. So now we have actually kind of like a stool, something with a back. Okay, Shift D and Y, make another copy. And go into edit mode, select this back edge. Let's delete it. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. Can we round these edges? Yes, we can. We can go and say add Bevel Modifier, but please for this only do angled edges, Z and wireframe, but you see it rounds everything right now. I want just these edges to be rounded. Here's a little trick. I drag this one on top. Oh, look at this. 2 inches. 10 segments. Oh, nice. So why is actually this order important? Let me show you something. So this is my paper model. Then I round this corner. And then, well, as you see, I round actually, I thicken this. So we could go back to this piece and let's say, can we round all these corners and then thicken it? Yeah, actually we can. So we do the same. Bevel modifier, but I drag this one up. We set 2 inches, 10 segments. Yeah, there we are. Look at that. We get some interesting facets here. So right click, shade smooth, right click, shade smooth. Then we get this funny artifacts. We can select those, go to here. We have to turn on auto smooth. There. By the way, right click, say assign to quick favorite. When you press Q, you can turn this on and off. Yeah, interesting. Look, there we already have kind of like a nice bench. So what else can we do with this? So this is kind of like a stool. What about we turn this into a chair? Well, here's actually our chair. Shift D, G and Y, bring this over. So this is 16, 16, 16 inches. That's kind of like the height and the width and the depth. That's fine. We would like to add a backrest. Edit mode, edge select, E and Z, and then I type in 16. And we're in 16 inches. If you get something different, we can always override it here. And maybe we bring this back a little bit. Now we made this a tick longer than 16 inches. There you can see, not too much, but again, now we are not trying to do perfect furniture design. We are trying to develop some interesting concepts. Now these vertical edges, I select X and delete. Oh, look at that. So everything we learned with the thickening and shelling and edge rounding, we can do now again. Okay, let's do it. Bevel Modifier, 2 inches, 10 segments, and what's going on there? Okay, we'll figure this out. So I assume there's maybe a side flipped, because that's not the way it should be. And yeah, there it is. See, we can select this, then normal and flip. When I extrude out an edge, the software has no idea how this should look. That's the reason why we got this artifact. Okay, then we can go to Solidify Modifier, 0.5 of an inch. Let's go to the side view, Z and wireframe. We have here this offset. And you see, well, we would like this to go to the inside, so it sits on the ground. Oh, look at that. Right click, shade smooth, Q, auto smooth. This is maybe a tick too short, so edit mode and nope, just this edge. Bring this over. Cool. Maybe to make this less terrible, bring this down a little bit. There. Yeah. See, not actually that complicated. Now already we made out of a cube a nice trapezoid shelled. Yeah, then this piece and then something like this. Very simplistic geometry. Okay, what else can we maybe do with the piece? Let's maybe make a kind of like a sofa or something. Shift D, escape, G and Y, bring this over. So we maybe we make this a little bit lower, so 14 inches. And then I say here, apply scale. Then I go into edit mode, select this, back face, yeah. E, extrude this a little bit up, select this, E, extrude this a little bit up. I mean, not up, this was, the first one went to back and then it went up. Okay, there we are. Good. Yeah, then edge select. This one we can bring in. This we can bring down a little bit. Maybe a little bit more forward. This is maybe too high. Let's make this really low. Yeah, maybe something like this. Okay. That's not too bad. Okay. What happens when we give these edges some rounding? Well, when we give this a bevel modifier to all at the same time, you see it rounds it all. Maybe 2 inches is too much. 1 inch. Okay, this is better. Something not so nice is happening there. This is more for the here, miter patchwork. And what about arc? Even better. Whoa, see this? Zip and zip. Okay, you might say, what is going on? See this? This is kind of like a nice flow, and this is the miter, which was sharp. So mitered. or arced. Yeah, actually, not bad. Think about this like a big plastic cube. Here, the same thing, shade smooth and Q auto smooth. Can we take this, but also shell it? Okay, Shift D and Y and click. Then we go into edit mode. We select this, and this edge, X, and delete edges. We can also select these edges to clean this up. Dissolve, not delete. See that removes it. Very good. This can go back to sharp where it was. And then, yeah, as before, we add the Solidify Modifier. Look how fast we are developing actually pretty cool design ideas. Yeah, okay. So this was all so far just 1, 2, yeah, single seaters. We can make this also double seater. When this is 16 G and Y, for another 16, now we have a bench. No? Bring this over, Shift D, escape, G and Y, bring this back, go into edit mode, and I move this back minus 16. So I have my single seater again. Okay, what about I would like to have a really nice long piece and maybe something that's kind of trapezoid, like this, but upside down. Okay, let's take a look. Maybe, yeah, what direction do we go? We're slightly starting to run out of space. Shift D and Y to here, thank you. And then we're going to edit mode, select this, and this is now this direction, so S and X, a little bit. Select this and this, X, and delete faces. Yeah, okay, good. Look at this. Bevel, yeah, same detail, 2 inches and 10, okay. And then we do a Solidify Modifier, 1/2 of an inch. There we are. Okay. Well, RZ90 could also be kind of like a side table. Maybe this goes down 2 inches, so GZ minus 2. So it's like 14 for an height. Yeah, cool. Okay, let's turn this into a longer piece. Shift D and X, go to here. I can do this in object mode quite easily. So we turn this into maybe a 40, no, wrong direction. Here, X. Wait. So this is X. Look at this. If I switch this to local, this is actually Y because we had this object rotated. So Y has to be now 16, 32, 48. Ah, interesting. Okay. Can we make a plus? Yes, we can. Shift D and X, now Y. Edit mode, Control R. Click and escape. You see, we made a loop cut right at the center. Now, this here is 16. So we're going to bevel this. Well, we have a bevel command here. Bevel. Whoop. And I would like this to be, 16. Let's see how this looks. 16 inches, or that's too much. So bevel maybe 8 inches. Yeah, that also. So this seems not really to work out. But what I will do there right now. I understand. Okay, very good. This mistake happened. You notice how this is really, the number is 5, but it's really long already. So let me undo this bevel command. In object mode, you see here, this is 3. So there's a scale factor. That's the reason why my bevel value didn't work, because it was multiplied by 3. Not anymore. Here. And there are 16. So we can type this in 8, because 8 is the radius of a bevel. Diameter then is 16. What can we do with this stuff now? Well, I can go to this and select maybe this one. And E and X. So this should go along only the X-axis. There we are. X and delete the face. Cool. Look at this. You see here this terrible corner. This is again something we can fix with this miter here. Arc. Yep. Beautiful. So quite nice, no? These edges are vertical. This is slanted. How can we fix this to make it vertical? SX and 0, because this is the x-axis, so we scale along the x-axis. If we would like everything to be slightly angled, 2 ways. Well, obviously I can bring this in, or I can select these 2 edges. I can also select all 4 and then go to shear. Now I need to figure out which one is it actually. This one, yep. Maybe minus 0.1. Yeah, then I can select this. It's probably 1. Okay. 0.1. Very good. Here, these 2 I straighten, SX and 0. Minus 0.1. And the last thing maybe to fix, here we have an angle, but here it's not. So I need to select Z and Y frame and go to here. I need to select all these lower edges there. And then you see this is the Y-axis, S and Y, taper it. Yeah, there we are. Now we have actually kind of like a cool, yeah, Y piece. If I then measure also, what's this? So 12.58. What's this? 12. No, this is 11 something. So this is already too wide. So SY, sorry, 12.5. Now holding Shift 5.8. So technically speaking, if I make a copy of this, Shift D RZ90, bring this over. Look, we can put these pieces together. So now you can imagine how playful actually this could be. Well, when you have a bigger space, if we need to fill it, we just make the geometry that will fit in there. Okay, everything so far was pretty easy with cubes, basic shapes, shelling, and rounding. What about we do a nice round, kind of like a round chair? Okay, so 3D cursor there, left mouse button, click, hold control, snap. Thank you. Okay, so we will add now a circle. We make this 64, very good. And then the radius is 12. So if 16 is for one person to sit on, if 2 people should sit on it, should be 32. So make this 16. Good. Then we can say in edit mode, we first turn this off, then we press F to fill everything. There's now the face. E, we can type in 14, enter. And then we can leave edit mode. Very good. Right click, shade smooth, Q and outer smooth. Yeah, not very super attractive. Shift D and Y click. I'd like to show you something. We can go into edit mode. This upper edge is selected. I can go to the bevel command and bevel this a little bit. Maybe by 2 inches and 10 steps. Okay, leave edit mode, go into edit mode. So that geometry is baked. I can't undo this. And this is the reason why I use the bevel modifier a lot. Let's delete this. Shift D, G and Y. Click. Go into edit mode. And what I'm going to do now is I will tell the software here, give me this bevel modifier. I leave this on purpose at 3 right now, 10. And you see the bottom is rounded too. That's too much. I only want the top to be beveled. Look at this, mean bevel weight. I can give this a weight. But nothing really changes. That's okay, because we didn't tell this yet. Round this, but use the painted edges. Click. Look at the bottom. It's not rounded anymore. You see? Okay, let's set this to 2. In object mode, now I can adjust everything quite nicely. Sure. No? Kind of cool. I could go into edit mode one more time. I try to select maybe the bottom. There it is. And then here, look at this. If I now start adding weight from 0, it's basically 0. 1 is 100%. 100% of 2. If I would like to have quarter of an inch rounding, this is then 0.25. Ta-da! Yeah. Shift D, G, and Y. Okay. Let's go into edit mode. See, this part is still selected. S, and let's taper this a little bit. There, nice. What about maybe a little bit of a dome? Can we do a dome something? Or maybe before we do the dome, let's make there's a big piece. How can we make a small side table? Shift D, G and Y. Go into edit mode. A to select everything. You see, this is the Z axis, Y and X. If I go to scale, I have here these plates. This excludes actually the Z axis. Or I can press S and Z, or X or Y. If I now press Shift Z, it excludes it. Suck. No, there's no my either table or stool. Can maybe select this and bring this down a little bit. Shift D, G and Y. What about bring this up? And this is the x-axis. R and X, we rotate this a little bit. So when you sit on it, you kind of like need to, how could I say that? Yeah, it's kind of like ergonomic support. That's now interesting. So let's say, this brings up the idea. Let's make a pattern. Shift D and Y to here. Edit mode. A, S, Shift Z, make this a tick bigger. U, go over. And now I would like this to rotate multiple times in copies. Okay, so this 3D cursor will come in very handy. Shift S, cursor to selected. You see how when I click this is my 3D widget. There's the cursor. Widget goes to the cursor. Okay, and now I can say Alt D, R, Z, 90. Alt D, R, Z, 90. Alt D, R, Z, 90. So I type in R and then for rotate, Z for the axis, and 90, and enter. No? Maybe one more time. Alt 4, Alt D, R, Z, 45. Wow, look at that. Okay, so this is actually made with a lot of copies. If we maybe would like rather to have maybe, could I say that? This is a tick more advanced. If we want this to be more parametric, we can do the following trick. Array. So we have maybe 8 pieces. Not this one. Object offset, that's interesting. there. And oops. So this is basically the, how could I say that? Actually, forget it. I just realized this is a tick too complicated. But because I now started it, I should actually show you how to do this more. Okay, this object center has to go to there. So right click, set origin, and origin to 3D cursor. You see now it moved to there. So when I just select this and select this, you see this is where the 3D cursor is. Now basically what I can do is, okay, I give this 8 again. Yeah, relative off, object offset. Nothing happened. Here comes now the trick. I can select this, or I can select this, RZ, and boom, there they are. So how many rotations do we do? 360 divided by 8, 45. There. It's just one object, and then we have multiples. So if we just be careful now, if you select this one and move it around, ooh, we can create really interesting patterns. That's actually how you can create staircases, like a spiral staircase, because this also goes upwards. Okay, cool. So let's take a look. Let's clean this up a little bit. And G and Y, vroom. Yeah, no, so far. Cube, trapezoid, cylindrical shape, more cylindrical shape. There's definitely more shapes maybe we can do, which are rather basic. Okay, let's take this one. Shift D, G and Y. We, yeah, maybe bring it to here or there. Okay, very good. So, oh, this is actually under the ground. Little trick again. Face, select, hold control, snap. Very good. Then we will go into edit mode. And Z and Y frame, I have all this selected, X and delete. So I just have this profile left. Click, click, Shift S, cursor to selected. In object mode, right click, set origin. And we will delete this here. Okay, so we're going to use this now to turn this into a circular design. Here's a screw command. Now the interesting thing is we're going to edit mode, press A to select everything, and just move it away. Oh, look what's happening. We're opening this. And now we can maybe move this in front. Then these edges will be rounded. There's some messy stuff happening. We might have to turn on the merge command. 0.01. No, it does not. That's not it. Hold on. Might have to do calculate. Yeah, there it is. Calculate order. What does this calculate order mean? Let me say it this way. It cleans up the orientation of the lines. Then this is kind of choppy. 64, 64. Yeah, look at that. Now we have a nice rounded piece. Let's move this one to here and see what we can do with this more. Yeah, how do we get in? Well, we can make this a little bit wider and then try to climb over. Yeah, not very practical. Let's make a copy. Shift D and Y. I find working really with lots of copies and not just tinkering on one design is so useful to play with ideas. So U and U. Right click and subdivide, and then U and U, E and X, extrude this out. Here's an internal edge. Now you see this edge I will delete. There. Oh, look at that. What did we do? We created a stepping stool to step into that space. How silly. Okay, but this brings up another interesting idea. Shift-D, G and Y, bring this over. Wow, we're going to need like 10 people to move this thing because it's so big. We don't need to make this 360. What about 270? So, that works. What about 90? Just a small slice. Interesting. Okay. Can we turn this into shelling? Yeah, we can shell this. There. Shell, let's say 1 inch. Even thickness to the inside. No, it still works. Okay, good. No, it does not. You see here, this corner is very, very sharp. So we have to shell this to the outside. You see how this corner starts to collapse? Or we set this to 0, so it's even. That's good. But then the GZ up, GZ down, hold control, face snap onto the ground. Okay, good. Oh, interesting. Now, Shift D, RX Z180, no, RZ180, and look at that. Flonk. There's another piece. Now we can play with ideas. Now, these two designs, the sides are different now, which is why they don't 100% match up. But you can see now what type of interactive elements. Oh, here, I'll bring this one in there. Okay. Well, that could be interesting. Nice discussion place. Let's say you like this design and we would like this to be more solid instead of hollow. Okay. Shift D, bring this over, GZ up, GZ hold control, click face snap onto the ground. I will remove this one. And now I have to say apply and apply, edit mode. Whoa. No worries. Alt click on this edge and F. Alt click on this edge and F. There. Now it is solid. We can still round these edges a little bit with a tiny fillet command. There. Actually, one didn't look too bad. That's kind of sharp. 10. Okay. Yeah, very nice, no? So kind of like a solid piece. By the way, with the screw command, let's go here back to 360. Ooh, up there. Look at this. I built some stairs and we can just slide down. That's kind of like then how you can make also spirals. You see these modifiers actually very powerful when you want to be quite nice and creative. Okay, good. So, I mean, this is basically how the screw modifier works. What else can we do? Let's select this one. GZ up, GZ down, hold control, Shift D, G and Y, bring this over and frame the selected. Okay. So what happens when we go into edit mode? Control R, make a loop cut. Click this point and drag this down. Oh, look at that. We're getting a little bit of an interesting backrest. Yeah, interesting. These corners are, however, rather sharp, so that's not really very good. Let's do this a tick better. We delete this one. Okay, now this looks extremely painful. Let's add a subdivide surface that, as you can see, made it very round. We move this on top. Now there's our fall rocker. And we go back into edit mode. Control R, make a loop cut. You see, oh, I'm tightening this. Control R, Control R, Control R. Oh, and this one, let's move this in. Oh, look, there's our lumbar support. Easy peasy. Alt click on this one. There. and nicely rounded edges, which I can get rid of by making another loop cut there if I want to. Very good. I could select these 2 points, even bring this down a little bit. There. Control R here. Click, move this out. Alt click this edge, move this back. There, look at that. Kind of like a very organic type of seeding. Can be nice and experimental. No? Again, the idea is not to be super perfect and clean. The stuff can look just nice and suggest nice and suggest to suggest and the verb. Can't pronounce this right now. What can we do with this one? Let's move this up, move this down. I have no idea how. Something must have moved here. Shift D, Y, bring this over. Well, what happens if when I select this cube here and I give this a wireframe and say 1 inch boundary? Well, look at that. I have a translucent cube thing. I have here this subdivision surface. Oh, this is kind of cool too. Okay, yeah, okay. Shift D, G and Y. What happens when I move this in front of there? Oh, look, it's a sphere because you see this rounded it. But when I turn this into simple, whoa, it's a nice box. Again, what's happening? Z and Y frame. See, this is a box. This box, we subdivide. And this is the new geometry, which is being passed to this command. Okay. If we, for example, do not want the bottom part to have this wire mesh on the ground, we go into edit mode, select the bottom, X, delete face, and there we are. Okay, this brings up an interesting idea. Shift D, G and Y, edit mode, front face, back face, delete. Ta-da! Now I only have this. Maybe I would like to put like a small thing on top here. Shift D and escape. Maybe 2 inches. Bring this over. Hold. No, I have this one here. I will turn off all these modifiers so it's easier for the snapping. So I move along the axes and then press each time also the snap command. Control. Bring this down there. So it's kind of like sitting on top. Kind of looks silly. Let's keep it gone. Whatever we did here, we can also do with this chair, by the way. Shift T and escape. Hello there. So this bevel command, let's say we remove this one, we remove 2 wireframe there and subdivide, but before simple, not single, and there we are. Okay, yeah, maybe this boundary thing here. Boundary is like a piece, like an edge piece. Okay, Shift D and escape. Bring this over. Turn this off. Turn this into pause mode and edit mode. What we're going to do now. Control R, click. Then I select this, bring this over, bring this down, bring this to here, bring this down, bring this in. Okay, interesting. Triangulate. Triangulate turns this into triangles. Also interesting. Not 100% very easy to sit on, but again, what we're doing here right now is developing conceptual ideas. We could Shift D, G, and Y, go ahead. In edit mode, maybe say Control B. Mouse wheel, just only one time. So here, one segment, UU. Control B, that's for the rounding. There we have actually more elements added to it. And we here Control R. See how I am selectively adding more elements to it. Maybe here at the back, this point I would like to move up. Fop. And maybe S and Y move this a little bit further out. Maybe this goes inwards. Oh, look at that. Pretty cool, no? Yeah, I think so too. It's actually pretty nice. Maybe this goes a little bit forward. Yeah, looks very engineering style, and maybe this goes back. Oh, yeah, this could be slightly painful to sit on. Yeah, I'm getting silly here right now. It's late. S and Y, we can make these maybe a little bit wider. Yeah, makes it less so blocky. Okay, I would say, I mean, I could easily fill this for more time, but we covered really enough. So some basic cubes, some extrusions, revolve, some fun actually with other elements. For those who are interested, if you go into the modifier, there's, for example, also the simple deform and some other commands you could play with, but let's say this is done. Oh, we didn't do tables. How do we do tables? Wah, wah. Okay. Yeah, tables. Let's make a very basic one. There. Click and hold Control. Okay. And then we will add, here's our plane. Let's say Y is 60, 32. Okay, well, it's a pretty big table. This is good. And then we're going to edit mode and bring this up to 30 inches. Yeah, there's a really nice big table. So again, because we moved everything first with a ground plane, now I can adjust this as I want. 25, yeah. So, and you say apply scale. Okay, thank you. So look at this, kind of like the same thing what we did there. Maybe I would like to have waterfalls sides. Okay, so X and delete these edges. This looks kind of terrible. There, solidify, maybe 2 inches, make this nice and thick. Cool, there we are. Maybe I would like to have this back piece again. Shift D, bring this over. In edit mode, F, fill this in. And in case this face is flipped, select all and normals outside. There. Okay. Again, because we have this all nicely in an object, I can still adjust the basic proportions. I just need to always make sure after I change this, because then the scale changes, to also apply this. There. No? What about, I like this idea, but I'm gonna like make this two versions are interesting. Shift D, G, and Z, edit mode, Control R, loop cut. There we are, U and U, S and Y, and scale it out. Well, look at that. Or edit mode, S and Y, scale this in. Good, interesting design does not always have to be super complicated. Shift D, G, and Y. I would like to have a piece that sits right in the center. So I could model the centerpiece, well, two ways. Control R, in edit mode. Oh, don't move this. Control R, U and U. Actually, these two, oh, where did this one come from? Hold on. There. Control R. I made this a tick too fast. These two, I will control B and bevel. This is a 2-inch material thickness, so this will be with 1 inch. Yeah, so that's the radius, so that's the depth. Zack, zack, F. There we are. But, complex. Yeah, this is then sometimes when these commands come into their limitations. So X and delete. Select this, Shift D, G, and Y. What I will do now is make a nice cube. This cube, x-axis 2 inches. Bring this over. And yeah, S and Y, S and Z. So I scaled this by hand. So Z should be maybe 10 inches. Okay, thank you. And apply scale. Then can go into edit mode, AAB, select all this. Move this, hold control and snap it onto that face. AAB, select all this, move this, hold control there. So then I can move this one up. There, now it's right under it. Or bring it, if I would like to snap it to the back, there. No, there you see that. If you make more pieces and even you have a cavity or something to hold under it, Shift D, X, escape, R, Y, and 90, rotate along the Y axis, hold control, move to here, hold control, snap, edit mode, select the back points, move this, hold control, there we are. Ta-da! Yeah, work surface. Yeah. Okay, but now we start getting into way too much detailing. We can leave it at this. But I hope that this basically gave you a good understanding how, when you have a space like this that's empty and you would like to quickly envision seating options, work surface options, table, side stand, we don't have to spend hours and hours in designing very nice things. We can very quickly block basic shapes out and leave them on purpose very simplistic, because then they rather will look like like a nice I don't know, landscape. I guess that's what I'm trying to talk about. So if we now turn this rendering on, let's see. And we keep also the materials just white so it blends in. That will start to look really good. If I have one chair, it will look kind of meh, but if I have multiple pieces, they all will get actually a really nice kind of like look. The last thing maybe to say, if you know, like in this case, you have multiple pieces and you would like to move them around, you have to select them all and move them together. Because if I move this and then I have to move this, it gets a little bit complicated logically. Yeah, and then we can do stuff like this. So U2, face select, Shift D, go to there, G, hold control, snap onto that ground. There's a table. Hello there. Top view, you go up. There and there. So you should be mirroring across this one. Okay. Mirror modifier. I do this automatically instead of making a copy and then moving it over. This is, I think, the x-axis. Yeah, that's correct. So be careful what direction this is going. There. Yeah, and I can select this. Shift-D, make a copy with both together. Shift-D. Oh, look at that. Shift-D. Very quickly populating that space. Alt-H, show everything. Now, there we are. Very good. Then let's keep it at this.